Hey, greetings everyone. Welcome back. It's GleeCon and I am happy to be here. Stoked, bros. Um, on our last episode, we finished off the original World of Warcraft official strategy guide, and it was kind of a more boring kind of way to finish because it was all just stat blocks. We are going to look at, they did eventually make a revised second edition. My guess is around the time Burning Crusade came out. And I also guess that by the time Wrath came out, they were like, people are already using like Wowpedia and Wowhead and stuff like that. So, and the game is so huge and expansive. I mean, already the first edition was almost 500 pages. So they probably got to the point where the cost wasn't justified when people just go online, and it kind of stinks because there were some cool ideas, but anyway, you can kind of look at that from an archaeologist point of view, and then over the next few episodes we'll rush through the revised second edition. It could take us a while if it's really truly new and revamped, or it might not take us that long at all if it's rehashing a lot of stuff, and then we'll just kind of breeze through it. Then we have the project that I've been hinting at for a while. Actually, I forgot that there's some other stuff I need to do. We have like a few other pieces of, I wouldn't call them lore, but we've got some things. The cool thing is it's very hard to find. There's a couple videos on YouTube of people talking about what we're going to do over the next set of episodes after this second strategy guide. But you cannot find anyone reading it. So if you're and it's very hard to find. There are no PDF copies of it online that I was able to find. It's just a very hard to find item. I did have to order a physical copy from eBay and probably paid more than I should. And then I'm gonna scan that and upload it, and we're gonna go through it. I'm gonna probably spend actually a thorough amount of time on it because it's so rare. That way, at least I can offer putting it out there for you guys. Anyway, so enough about that. Let's stay a while and listen as we jump in with Eretor. This is our final mission that covered the stocks. So I'm going to have some time to talk about how my previous runs went and stuff like that. But what we need to know for now is that this episode is going to be all about Eretor. He did all 6 quests. It's only listing 5 there, but there are 6. I don't know why. It's only listing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, there we go. It's just questy, being questy, where it's not actually showing them all. So to recap, we're going to recap what each quest was. So this one's called The Fury Runs Deep. We picked it up with Maleficent. I was going to turn it in with her, but you know what? I was like, nah. It might be a while. I'd rather tie it all together. And he grinded out. Eretor, he was... I'm already almost 28, so I'm just having so much fun with him. I was like, let me just go and do this. I found a couple guys, and we ran this quest that we did with Maleficent the other day. It was me, a warrior, and a druid. And... we just kind of all sort of tanked/healed and did DPS, and it was we were very effective. We cleared this whole place, including the boss, and they were only a couple levels higher than me, including the not the boss, whatever you can call him, the warlock guy. And I had a good time with it. So then we were like, let's just go do the dungeon. And we picked up a couple low-level DPS to bring along with us, and we crushed it. It was by far the smoothest run. But anyway, talk about that in a minute. So this quest is, when you came out here, it all starts with, if you're looking from a lore perspective, down in Loch Modan, they start to become suspicious that someone blew this dam. And that's kind of what created Loch. It's kind of what filled in the lake a little bit, I think. I think there's some kind of ties with that. But it's definitely taken the wetlands kind of area here, and I think it has played a role in that. So they were like, well, we know that there's something at odds here. There's something amiss. So you go and you check out this a dark threat looms, and you find this strange smelling powder, and they're like, you kill a couple dark irons, you know they're behind it. They're like, you got to go north. So we go to the Thandal Span, and this is Dun Moder. Now Dun Moder is a city of dark iron dwarves. That is just what it is for the most part. I mean, I think, yeah. Or it's a city that has been taken over by the Dark Irons. So then they're like, okay, we'll fight them. You can fight their leader, which we did as a kind of lore thing, but we'll do that again with Maleficent. So I'm not so worried about that. But they're basically like, we're at war with these guys. We need to fight them, and they're elites. So after you kill them, he's like, that's great, but they had a leader. The Fury runs deep. A guy named Cam Deep Fury, and he's basically saying, we got this guy. We found out that he was the mastermind behind the attack that destroyed or almost destroyed the Thandal Span, and Longbraid, which is I guess this guy right here, Longbraid the Grim, who's kind of leading this battle. We also know that it was that Deep Fury led this group to kill his family. And for political reasons, they decided to keep him in the Stockades. Now, they want justice. Now, we also know that some of these political reasons are starting to seem very shady. Now, I'm not going to get too far into that, even though most of us probably know the reasons why, but it is some shadiness. So we've done the deed. Because we were broken into the jail, and we'll talk about why we did that from a lore perspective soon. Like when we get over to turn those quests in, we broke in, and he was one of the many people that we killed, and we killed him on camera with a couple of other characters too. And here we are now to turn in his head. We've carried this dripping dark iron head back. What's on your mind? I won't let foolish human bureaucracy interfere with dwarven matters, Erator. Cam Dapier is a proven conspirator in the Thandal Span attack. He and his good people lost their lives because of Deep Fury's deceit. The humans might be content to let Deep Fury rot in the stockade, but I will not sleep soundly at night until Deep Fury is slain. And so we did that. We brought this head with us.
So Cam Deep Fury finally got to feel what it is like to be on the receiving end of death? Good. Serves the cowardly Dark Iron scum right. You have done well, adventurer. The victims of the Thandal Span attack were but mere victims in a world torn with war and unrest. Their families will have the peace of knowing Deep Fury got the punishment he deserved. Longbraid's brother's death has been avenged.
Alright, so yeah, Longbraid lost his brother. We got it back. We didn't care. The victims of the attack were but mere victims in a world. Yikes, we need a little editing here. Come on, tighten it up, Liz. I can get a leather belt, which is crap, or a two-handed mace, which is not as good as mine, but I'll pick that up because I'm sure in general they sell for more. And look at this, we're level 28, so on camera we're going to have to pick a little bit up. I have a lot of the DPS. I need to skip this tier and get to Vengeance, but I'll pick up this movement speed. I think if I get 2 points of that, that will unlock this Sanctity Aura and two-handed weapon spec for me, which that'll be cool. Alrighty, so this quest we're not going to pick up. This is, oh, I see. This is a Thandal. We'll do that with a different character. All right, now I have my Hearthstone set to Stormwind, so that's what we'll do right now. We'll do the Stormwind set. There is, we do have to kind of check in with the Red Ridge Mountain people. Actually, kind of should have done that, but I'm not gonna, because we want to end this. That'll sort of be a footnote at the end. So let's turn in first what you would have got from yeah, let's do that. Okay, so we'll go turn in what we would have gotten from quelling the uprising. So when you go to the Stockades, let's go back and kind of get some background on that. The guy is basically like, the prison is revolting. We need to put it down and just go in there and kill them, essentially. Now, in the Stockades riots, he also gives you this quest. So when you kill Van Cleef, he drops a letter which draws ties to the guilds, the artisans' guilds in Stormwind. So you're directed to a guy here like one of the main artisans, kind of like a sellout from Van Cleef's perspective. And he says, well, it wasn't just me. We were a trio. You've killed Van Cleef, but there is one more of us in the jail. This guy, I want to say it's Basil Thread. So when you go and talk to the guard, the warden out here, he says, okay, basically, look, I don't know if I can trust you or not, but what do I have to lose? Go in there and kill your way through, put down the uprising, and then just murder that fool, because I don't even care anymore. We know he's an ally of Van Cleef, and if it turns out you're going to betray us, okay, fine, then you're just lumped in there, because eventually we're going to get our crap together and take this Stockade situation under control, and then we'll just kill you with them. So we have successfully done those two things. We've quelled the uprising, and we've done the Stockade riot. So let's turn those two in order.
Your efforts in the Stockade were valiant, adventurer. It's obvious this problem is bigger than the both of us, but you have performed well, and for that, I am thankful.
Okay, so they're just generally thankful that I helped smash this uprising. An uprising that is ostensibly an extension of what's the Van Cleef organization, because it hasn't been all finished yet. We're now basically getting to the end, but this is what was left over. But also we know there's these other behind the scenes string pullers doing some stuff.
Be careful.
Either you bring me Thread's head, or I'll take yours. Understand, Aratul?
Without Thread to lead them, hopefully the riots will be more controllable. We shall see. I must say, after a half hour, I hardly expected you to come out, but it seems I misjudged you. I'd guess then that you didn't get much useful information out of him. But I know a thing or two that might be of interest to you about Thread's activities.
I think it's kind of funny because this is one of the few dungeons that you can routinely finish in half an hour or less. So I think it's kind of neat that they called that out there. I think it's weird that this is basically the harder quest. I don't know. I guess the other one you do kind of have to clear basically the whole dungeon to get all of those guys. And this one you just sort of have to clear the boss, one of the bosses. But you get 25, even though it's a higher level quest versus silver. But here's the reason why, because it's not really the end game. It's opening you up the rest of this chain.
Of Thread's imprisonment, he never had any visitors. I figured that he was no longer of use to the Brotherhood, so they abandoned him. Anyway, a few months ago, that all changed. He started to get regular visits, once, maybe twice a week. It was a strange man, the quiet type. I had my suspicions, but all his papers checked out. His documents claimed his name was Malik. Here's his description. I don't think he'll be coming to visit Thread anymore.
Okay, so basically they said right before this whole breakout happened, this guy who led the breakout started receiving a visitor. Who is the visitor? We don't know. He seemed shady, but they give us a document that describes what he looks like, which is just sort of weird. It seems a little bit convoluted, but okay. Now we're going to go back to the person, the only remaining member of the trio that went their separate ways when this all started. So basically, there was a trio of leading members of the guilds. There probably was more, but there are three real that they talk about. Van Cleef was one of them. He obviously, after Stormwind reneged on paying them, he created a gang, led revolts, stormed out, and then started a whole crime family. Then you have Basil Thread, who did some similar fighting, but it was a little bit less planned out, and he ends up getting caught and most of his men killed, and he rots in prison. And then you have the third guy who sells out and says, because Stormwind still needs artisans, and says, okay, you know, I'll take the money, the money that's kind of used to appease us, and I'll just betray my friends. And that's Barris Alexton, and now he's doing quite well for himself as a city architect. Yes, Aratul, what have you found?
Malik? No, the name doesn't sound familiar, and neither does this description. But it could be anybody. A former stonemason, one of the Defias Brotherhood. Though if he is as well connected as Thelwater suggests, perhaps someone else might recognize him. Let me think.
Okay, so they're basically like, yeah, this verbal description or a written description of this dude
I really haven't a clue, adventurer.
Not helping
There is
us.
someone else who might be able to help you, and it so happens that he owes me a favor for, well, let's not get into that. Master Matthias Shaw of S.I.
Who did he have
Seven
assassinated?
can be found in the barracks in Old
S.I.
Town. Shaw
Seven.
has his thumb on most of the shady or underhanded dealings of the city. If anyone knows, it'd be him.
So basically he's saying this is not enough to go on, this description that you have, because he's just, he's a white-collar dude. He's just some architect, even though it seems like maybe we'll find out some more to that, or maybe we won't. Maybe that's just like a little flavor, like where anybody that knows the SI7 guys, you're like, okay, this guy had someone assassinated. Can we get back to that? But I wouldn't be surprised if we don't ever do that. There's it's kind of good for world building, but a lot of the times you have these threads that just never get pulled. Or maybe we'll read it in some of our side lore. Who really knows? But it could easily just be one of those things where it's just like, what? So he is redirecting us to an intelligence agent, essentially, because one, it would just make sense that this guy would know more about it. On the way there, we're going to turn in this, the Color of Blood quest, which is the one that didn't appear. Now, this quest is a one-off. Basically, when all of these riots happened, when Basil Thread was put in the Stockades and all that stuff, right at the beginning when the riots, when men were called to the front, well, they just needed anyone. So her son, this woman, Nikova Rascal here, she has a 14-year-old son, and he got zealous, and he decided to go help the guards, and he scolded the guards, or he scolded the prisoners, rather, of the Defias, and they did not like that. So he's just a 14-year-old. They shanked him. He died. She's mad, and what he scolded them about was ripping up their bed sheets so they could continue to show the signs of their gang by wearing their little masks. So she's like, well, now I want you to pay, and I want you to kill them. So,
Need help?
I see you're back, Paladin. Have you collected 10 red wool bandanas from those Defias scum in the Stockade yet?
So these bandanas, filthy tokens of corruption, are what my Mac had to die for? Such a waste. Such a tragic sacrifice. But alas, I cannot return to the past. Just know, adventurer, that you have brought my family justice through your deeds.
This is good money that we're getting.
Be careful.
Alright, so yeah. I mean, there's not a ton of lore on that. You just get to see, like, one small, sad little vignette there. We've done it. We've killed whatever we could kill. Accessories,
Hey there.
quartermaster. Well, let's repair. Yeah, we'll sell some of this other stuff. I don't need it. These things. Still have that Hand of Dexter and Ward. Still, I don't need that. While we're here, why not sell a little bit,
Safe travels.
The gold sitch is good. I have almost 7 gold. Eritor is flying high. Now he's got to start mining, really. I mean, at this rate, I might be able to buy some more. Alright, so now we're going to go to the... if you notice... this is why I decided to make this entire episode. We have to run around and do quite a bit of little lore mongering here.
Welcome to SI. 7 headquarters, adventurer.
the robot it breaks its brain, certain punctuation. Alright, so we're gonna talk to him about it.
Be careful.
Greetings. Of what service can I be to you, Paladin?
What? What's this? Yes, I think I do know who this man is, but his name is not Malik. Assassins wear many names and many masks, discarding them as they lose their usefulness. Another alias known to be used by this man is Marzan, though even that is surely not his true name. Regardless, he is an assassin, and I know a good deal about him. Marzan is currently under the employ of Lord Gregor Leskovar, a lord of shady reputation, even given the corruption of the nobility of Stormwind.
Alright, so this is a non-guild member assassin, and for whatever reason, he's been conversing. He works for the nobles of Stormwind. 2, he's acting as a go-between and helping probably plan the uprising of the Defias.
That Marzan would be contacting a member of the Defias and have ties to Leskovar. Having killed Van Cleef and Thread, it would be hard to see Leskovar brought to proper justice, as your evidence is nothing without their testimonies. That is not even considering the fact that Leskovar is a noble and well-connected. It effectively makes him above the law. You'll need other help. I loathe to do so, but there is someone I know that will aid us. You'll find Trias in the trade district of the city.
Okay, so basically he's saying now that this conspiracy goes deep. This stuff couldn't have been happening without the help of nobles. And we've now pinpointed one, but he's saying there's really nothing we can do, but we really, really want to get to the root of this problem and excise the Defias, like from the bottom. Like if we leave even some nobles that have the financial ability and political motivations to help the Defias get back on its feet, that would be a bad thing. Not to mention that anybody associated with the Defias is directly tied to tons of murdering. And so that guy is Matthias Shaw. He's basically saying we need to be able to get this guy, but we're going to need to do it in a way that is not that's not above board. And if you're interested in doing that, go talk to my buddy. So we go to look to an old friend here. And we will do so. Okay, so we're going to go to the cheese shop. Trias' Cheese. His old friend is the cheesemonger.
You're kidding. Shaw wants my help again? Of all the nerve. The Defias Brotherhood, you say? Well, you're certainly the bearer of wonderful news, aren't you? Next, you're going to tell me that Deathwing is still alive and attacking the city.
If he only knew.
Tell me everything from the beginning. And don't leave out something you think might not be important. I need to know it all.
Alright, so we don't really know how this guy is connected. He's just, I guess, what we do know is that he's just a friend. He's kind of a connection and to the intelligence community.
An interesting tale, not one to be taken lightly. Yeah, I can help you, but what you need to do is divvy out a form of justice that's not legal if you're to see this through to the end. Leskovar and Marzin need to be dealt with, and swiftly. Do you think you're capable of such a thing? You decide. If so, then make haste to the castle and find an old friend of mine, a gnome named Tyrion. He's been watching
Tyrion
Leskovar
Lannister
now for a couple weeks. He should be able to help you end this.
Also, Tyrion Fordring, like, that is a name that's used. I wonder the fact that we have Tyrion here being used. So we have to go find Tyrion, but this is not the Tyrion that we were all familiar with, not from Game of Thrones or from whatchamacallit, Tyrion Fordring, who is, I guess, I believe Tyrion Fordring is the one that's like a Death Knight now. We can look that up, the Lich King. I think he's the current iteration of the Lich King, and he was a Death Knight, and he was a Paladin. So I guess that's just a popular name, but it seems weird that it would be a name of a gnome, unless it's a straight-up gnome that was born and raised in Stormwind. You know, there could be a complex story. So he's in the castle, and here, this is going to come a quest that really, this is where it gets a little tough. I do think of all the characters I have, Eretor here this is why I saved him to be the one to do this. Every single other person I did this with, I had to find aid, because you have to kill a level 31 and a level 30 at the same time to finish off this quest line. And I wasn't sure, how successful I would be with this. So, or if I would be able to find help. Whoops, I missed my turn. So I saved it for him. I think there's a pretty solid chance Eretor could do it. So even if we can't find help, and as you see, it's 10 o'clock server time, it's pretty good. World of Warcraft, especially Classic, has just got great. It's very rarely a ghost town, especially not for dungeons and quests. I love it. I just love it. When I was a kid, sometimes it would be so hard, but can't complain. I love it. Alright, so you come in here, and here's this gnome, and he's got a little robot. He's got a spy bot.
You'll have to be patient with me, adventurer. I've got my spy bot inside working on a very delicate matter. I'll be with you in a second. Oh, and do me a favor. Try not to let Leskovar see you. We're about to ambush him.
Okay, now this is super annoying, this quest, this part. Right now it's okay, but because at any point in time, if this spy bot is not here, you can't turn in or accept any quests from him. There's some kind of, I wish they would fix it, a bug, you cannot do anything with him unless it's spy bot, and he routinely sends him off on different parts of the quest. So we're going to turn in infiltrating the castle first.
What the? Don't sneak up on me like that! And keep your voice down! What in the name of the shadow are you doing sneaking up on me for? Can't you see I'm busy, you daft fool? What do you mean, what am I doing? I'm waiting for the next dark portal to open. What the heck do you think I'm doing? Speak your piece and be off with you. For the guards notice the two of us hiding in the bushes together. I have a reputation to maintain.
Yeah, a reputation that would be a little weird if a full-grown man was hiding, rolling around in the bushes with a gnome and a spy bot. Yeah, the chat GPT is definitely not an actor. Look, there's multiple guards. They're just stacked on like infinity guards on top of each other.
Trias wants the timetable pushed up some, huh? Okay, we can do that, but I'm not ready. And notice, I'm doing the hard part, but you're the one that's going to get his hands dirty, understand? Good. Okay, I'll need you to get me a few things before I can put my plan into effect. I got the perfect disguise that'll get Spybot past those guards. Bring me some silk and a couple apples. The silk's up to you, but Clara's little farm right outside the city has the perfect sized apples.
Okay, so this quest is one of the silliest things that we're doing. So here's what we're gonna do. Now, one, how convenient that this dude is just hanging around in some bushes, spying on and waiting to potentially kill the exact same two guys that I'm waiting on. And I just show up and he's like, oh yeah, and by the way, I have a plan. It's a good plan, but it needs you to pull it off. So, okay. I have to be the one to go run out and get you some apples and silk, and that's all you were. I mean, then we're good to go. And also, you didn't have that. You weren't prepared. You weren't prepared to do that ahead of time. It's so silly. But really, what we're doing is they're sending us on this one extra little leg of this journey as a little joke, because what we're gonna do is the disguise that the Spybot has is it turns into a completely realistic, just a human female. So its character model changed from robot into full-on human female, which is so silly because think about what it took to do that. Some silk, okay, I guess you could argue that's the clothes, and a couple apples. So you literally have to go pick up 2 apples, and that not only are the apples, they are the perfect-sized apples. So, we're gonna be helping this guy make like some Bugs Bunny level feminine costume where we're making him a little silk bra and dress and a couple apple boobs, and that's all it takes. You can turn a hunk of junk into a woman that basically looks exactly like this woman right here if you just have a couple apples. I don't need the first aid though. I need a paladin trainer. Actually, I passed and there he is. I felt like since I'm gonna try this pretty difficult fight, I might as well at least have all my buffs going. Hi, Catherine the Pure. Oh, I can't talk to her. It's a little weird. Now I can. All right.
Light, may the light protect you this
I would like to
day.
train further. Okay, so Exorcism rank 2, 81 silver, shadow resistance aura, and that's it. So I already knew this. I pre-looked it up before this episode while I was flying around on my own, like doing the dungeon. We gain like nothing. This is not useful at all. I gained 1 more aura. This is an aura that's been phased out. There is no shadow resistance aura. Think about how niche that is. You would have to be like legitimately saying, okay, we are fighting hardcore shadow damage mobs, and we need to put that on. So I guess there could be situations where that might be slightly useful than the devotion aura, but other than that, like, who cares? And then I have to add my upgrade. I don't even ever use exorcism because I'm not a caster, but sure. Right now it does 90 to 102 holy damage, but I'm already doing 116 to 151 just when I hit with my hammer. So that's not useful. But now I guess I could... The only thing is it could shoot, but sure. Now it does 152 to 172. So now it's a little bit more, but it's, for me, it's not worth the 135 mana to cast it. The only thing is, it's from far away, so I guess you could shoot with it. But yeah, like, I feel like my healing is a little low. I could use more healing spells, but nope, we don't get anything like that. So 28 is kind of a boring level, and it's also why, look, I still have 5 gold. And I have 2 levels to gain more gold as we stack more of this. So outside of town is where we'll get these apples. Oh, wait till they're out here in Elwyn. They're just really close. It's this quest chain is very easy. It's just a lot of running around. Like, you'll find that the episode that we're making is kind of long, just because they just have us going back and forth. But the reward is quite nice, so it is worth it. It does reward you with a very nice ring, a blue ring, that will probably outlast any rings you get for some time. So it's definitely worth the effort of sending your characters through on this. I did it with everybody except old Chaliceer did not have a chance to run this because she never did Dead Mines. You do. This is essentially the ultimate reward for completing both Dead Mines and Stocks. Here's your apples. These good, hefty, fresh apples from Clara. Thanks for the 2 apples. You don't even ask, you just take. So we get 2 apples from Clara, and now we can go back. Now again, if the bot's there, if someone's in the middle of this, it's going to be annoying because you have to wait for them. It's almost like an escort quest in the sense that you got to wait for every dang person to get past it. Dr. No Pew. No Pew? I don't know. And then everybody that we talk to, we basically have to retrace our steps. So after we do this part of the mission, we've got to go back to the cheese guy, and then we've got to go back to Matthias Shaw, then we've got to go back to the architect, and then we've got to go back to the Stormwind Castle. Like, so it's you go literally talk to everybody. And then we are gonna go and turn in the other 2 quests as well. So I don't know exactly when we started. I wasn't really paying attention today. Excuse me, but it is what it is. Uh-oh, I think I just missed the... I just missed the rallying cry. Well, no, I must not just missed it. Doravana? Mage. Yeah, I didn't just miss it but I missed it in the past 2 hours.
Hello.
Because they all have it. Allied. There's a little Page Chattis. So I am excited. The more I do this, I'm very excited to do Burning Crusade Classic and try a different collection of things. I think it'll be quite cool. And it'll be, I mean, it'll be a little bit weird, but it'll still be fine. Alright, so we're going back into Stormwind Castle to go back and tell the guy. Now is where we should, I think I kind of need to, I'm going to need to buff up soon. I guess while I'm waiting, we do have a minute. So here's where I'll perhaps use, I can definitely do my weight stone right now. But I'll eat my food to give myself that buff. When I did the dungeon, the guy threw me a few goblin devil clams, so give myself a stamina buff. We'll put the other buffs on me. Oh, you can eat the apples if you want. A fresh piece of fruit that's good to eat. It's apparently also good for disguises too.
Salutations! Off and away!
I've been watching Leskavar for a couple of weeks now. Trius has never trusted him, but we didn't suspect he was involved in anything to do with the Defias Brotherhood. We were following leads that tied him to the Twilight's Hammer. Either way, he's become more dangerous than the city can deal with, and that's where we come in. Give me those items and we can put my plan into effect. So this guy's just all across the board bad, and he's probably supporting the Defias Brotherhood because the Twilight's Hammer just wants chaos to reign supreme, and supporting the Defias Brotherhood would certainly go towards that. Alright, let's wrap up these apple boobies and
These will do nicely, adventurer. Great job. I have the rest of the gear I'll need in my pack. Thank the light. I just got a tailor friend of mine to make me a silk bag. I was running out of room carrying all my gear around. Before Spybot heads in, let's get the details set so you know what you have to do.
Okay, he has the rest of the costume in his bag.
Daylight's burning.
Okay, this is the attack.
After I put on Spybot's disguise, he'll head in to talk to Leskovar. The guards should let him pass no problem. While you were getting materials for me, I took care of informing Marzan that it was time for him and Leskovar to meet again. I even dropped some false information. Leskovar will dismiss his guards and wait for Marzan out here in the garden. After you catch wind of talk about the Defias, make your move. You need to kill them both before the guards return. When you're done, speak to Trias.
Alright, so here comes the quest. For some reason, it also glitches and it leaves that. So, this is going to be tough. So, he's disguised her. Now she's a full-on woman. Priestess Tyriana says, "Wait here, Arator. Spybot will make Leskovar come out as soon as possible. Be ready. Attack only after you've overheard their conversation." You can't attack them before. You can't screw that part up, really. Okay, so we have that. Let's also open up and give myself... We can make a slightly better weight stone. I don't have the right mats. Okay, so we'll go ahead and take Vertigan's Fist, buff that up. I guess it's probably going to be less than 5 minutes, so I can probably... Oops, I buffed her with that. I don't know which one of these will be better. Do I want the extra attack power? We're going to try it that way. Could go either way. I could potentially use this. I should just use one of those on myself like as soon as I get hit. And hopefully it doesn't count as a potion. Yeah, I'm not going to use this stupid minor mana potion. That's dumb. It would be more beneficial for me to... I mean, I guess a healing potion's okay. It's a third of your life. Like, whatever. I'll just have to be smart about this whole thing. How much does this last? Last 30 seconds. So... as soon as I see them come out and start talking... So basically, yeah, you don't have to hide or anything. They say that you do, but... So the Spybot goes in there... He's going to do a couple things. So right now, this guy, this is the person they've been talking about, the person that's behind it all. So Priestess Tyronia, she's leading him, she's told him to come out, I guess. And these guards, even though there's stacked 1,000 of them, they're going to leave. He's going to tell them to leave, I believe. Yeah, so here. It's time for my meditation. Leave me. And they're all like, yes, sir. And all 500 stacks of guards are going to leave. Now he comes out, and he waits for the guards to be out of sight. Doesn't care about me.
Light be with you.
I'm going to try to take him out first. When they start talking, I'll drop this seal of command on myself. Or at least when I see. So the other person is the assassin. He'll come off from this side. So I don't know where the Spybot went. He's walking around somewhere. I think she goes to get the Spybot, too. There he is. See, he's in stealth. There you are. What news from Westfall?
That Cleave sends word that the plans are underway, but he's heard rumors about someone snooping.
Could be that meddler Shaw. I will see what I can discover. Be off with you.
Very well. We'll return then.
Okay, so now they're ready to go. Now you do have to be careful that if you don't aggro him too, then it will... Yeah, see, we're having a little... Go ahead and use this potion. And use that on myself. Okay, so this. I might have to lay on hands, but that's okay. Like, I was already thinking this might be a possibility. So... Okay, I can protect myself. Okay, I got that guy. While I'm bubbled up, let me heal again. Okay. Alright, my mana is getting a little low, so now I gotta stop using the judgment. Unless I can pair it with this Hammer of Justice. Then sure, that's worth it. There we go. Okay, so Erator's just so dope. None of my other characters could have pulled that off. Alright, so that even though he has an exclamation mark, that's fake.
Oh, if I only had a tree
See,
branch
he
to
doesn't-
hold up in front of me, the guards would never see me then.
Okay, so at this point, I always make this mistake, but at this point you have to go back to the Trias guy. I don't know that it even really specifies that in the thing. It does say, afterwards kill them both before returning to Elling Trias. So, we listened to the conversation between them where basically they said, it could be that Meddler Shaw, I'll see what we can discover, be off with you, I'll contact you again soon. Van Cleef sends word that the plans are underway, but he's heard rumors. They don't know that Van Cleef is dead, I guess. And then Marzan the Silent Blade says, very well, I'll return to you. And then Tyrion says, that's it. That's what you were waiting for. Kill them. And then he says, what? How dare you? And then the other guy says, Defias shall succeed. No meek adventurer will stop us. So I guess the assassin is just a member of the Defias. Whereas the other guy is sort of a go-between. Maybe he's a supporter of the Defias. Maybe he's a Twilight's Hammer. Who knows, really. But we have successfully completed the only potentially hard part of that quest line. So now we'll go back to Trias, or Trias. I would pronounce it Trias, but ChatGPT is infecting my brain. Little chatbot. Yeah, we'll see. I don't know if it's better or worse in retail. I'd have to have some people fill me in on what they thought. If anyone has tried it in retail, if it's better, worse, or the same.
So it is done. Good. Thank you greatly for your discretion, adventurer. You've proven worthy on more than one count. I'll be sure to keep my eyes on you and your progress within the Alliance. Be sure to keep your nose clean.
Okay. So he's just basically saying, good job keeping it sneaky.
Find Shaw in Old Town. Let him know that the Leskovar threat has been dealt with and about your involvement in the Lord's plots against the city. I'm sure he'll be proud to have another hero among Stormwind's citizens. He'll more than likely send you off to meet with the prince or some other noble. Don't let it get to your head, adventurer. The nobles can think they rule the city all they want, but some things remain out of their hands.
Alright. So they're basically like, good job. You've helped us assassinate someone. So go tell the Master Assassin, and yeah, you're in his good graces. Now, it's not like you can get rep. This is long before they did like individual rep. So, as far as mechanics, this doesn't actually affect anything. But from a narrative perspective, we're sort of working our way into the good graces of the intelligence community of Stormwind, regardless of how that actually will play out. Does that manifest in any other jobs we do? I think maybe so. Defias Shaw is a pretty important character, and we definitely have not fully exposed the plot and everything that's going on in Stormwind, so there's a lot more to do there. Maybe I should sell. Well, I don't have to, but because we're still going to have to.
Only the best gear.
I was going to say, really, it's the repairing.
And the prices are set, so
we
if you
still
want
have
to
a
haggle,
couple
then
things.
Go find a goblin.
Oh, those are the two that we have to go turn in. Go find a goblin. Alright, so, but you do get a little piece of XP each time, so all told, like, you get a solid amount of XP for doing this quest line and doing this stuff. Like, Stocks is completely worth it. I see why people run it all the time. It's short, it's fast, especially the first time you run it. When you do all these quests, you get a ton of rewards. When we're done with this one, on our next episode, we are going to take, we're going to do Black Fathom Deeps, because I'm only going to do that to balance. I'm going to do that with our Night Elf.
Need help? He is dead then? Your justice was swift, adventurer. I pray to the light that I never become your quarry. I mean no criticism, adventurer. How could I be
He
the
laughs and
master
claps
of
you on
all
the shoulder.
assassins? But in truth, you have done the people of Stormwind a great service, and for that, I thank you.
Okay.
Ah, I almost forgot. Alexton came while you were away. He wished to speak with you. No doubt he wishes to report the goings-on of the Defias Brotherhood to the nobles. A bit of advice, adventurer. If anyone should ask, I would provide all details, but that it was your hand that slew Leskovar. Trust me, I am acquainted with the ways of such things. And as far as Trius goes, well, speak to no one of him, ever, if you can help it.
Alright, so basically, he says, like, good job being an assassin, and, hardy har har, I wouldn't want to get in your way, but, I'm just kind of joshing you because I'm an assassin too, so, I mean, it's not like, I'm not criticizing you, which is kind of a weird little exchange. And then he says, the noble, the architect, he's been looking and asking around. He kind of wants to know your progress, and he goes, I think he wants to give the other nobles in the town an update on the Defias ring and what's going on. And hey, go provide that update. Do everything that you need to do. Everyone will be happy, but don't mention you're the one that killed them, because then you'll get in the crosshairs of the other nobles. Anybody that's might see you as an up-and-comer and they want to nip you in the bud. Anybody that's still left, because probably there's still some taint in the upper political. We know there's some more. So by keeping us, plus it allows them from like a quest-giving perspective to allow you other adventurers at higher levels, if you've never completed this quest line, to still go about your business and accept these quests, and they'll act neutrally towards you. Whereas if you're like, yeah, I killed them, it might be a little weird later on when you're like accepting a quest from one of the other nobles and they're just acting like you didn't kill one of their fellow nobles. So yeah, it's it's a thing. After this, we have a couple more steps. We're getting close to the end, and then we're gonna go turn in the other two.
It's good to see you, adventurer. I have heard that Lord Gregor Leskovar was found dead not long ago. It would seem that you were successful in your mission. You have my gratitude that you have saved me and many others from Van Cleef's revenge.
That's true. I mean, he should be happy because he's the one that betrayed that gang.
I have prepared a report for the king. I believe you should be the one to deliver it to him, along with an account of your findings. Do not worry. There is no doubt that he will commend you for doing your duty to the people of Stormwind. Your audience is scheduled soon, so you'd best hurry. It's a bit of a ways to Stormwind Keep.
Alright, almost as cool as the ring you get probably, up until this point, the single coolest piece of in-game text that we've read so far. So let's go ahead and read the report on the Defias Brotherhood. This is a good one. From the hand of Barrows Alexton, Office of the City Architect, Stormwind. Your Majesty, there are many reasons as to why I felt that a report should be compiled and presented on the recent affairs of the Defias Brotherhood and their activities throughout the kingdom. For perspective, I shall begin with a bit of history. As you may or may not know, my service to the city of Stormwind began as a member of the Stonemasons Guild. Through years of work, we completed the rebuilding of Stormwind, at which time the Stonemasons Guild bills and fees and salaries left unpaid and unspoken for. Yeah, that's a little bit weird writing. I think what it's basically saying is the government still owes us money. At that time, Edwin Van Cleef had been elected Guildmaster of the Stonemasons and spoke out demanding restitution for our works. In response, the Stormwind House of Nobles ordered the Stonemasons Guild disbanded, which understandably angered Van Cleef. Leading a riot, Van Cleef led the Stonemasons out of the city. Before I continue, there are some other events that took place during this time that I should bring to your attention. First, it was at this time that I was offered the position of city architect if I did not join with Van Cleef. Because of certain ideological differences, I chose to remain in Stormwind. Probably most notably, like, not wanting to become a criminal and being happy that you could get a promotion. During the riots, Van Cleef's lieutenant and most trusted assistant, Basil Thread, was captured and held in prison. Awaiting trial and questioning, Thread was almost forgotten about in the Stockade. Or was he? Returning to Van Cleef after he led the remnants of the stonemasons out of Stormwind, he took advantage of the relatively unprotected state of Westfall and used his considerable manpower to run many of the farmers off and take over the handful of gold mines. Taking advantage of the resources at his disposal, Van Cleef hatched a plan of retribution against the government of Stormwind. This information came to light recently with the assistance of the bearer of this document, who was instrumental in shedding light on this vast conspiracy. So that gives us some better backstory about the Van Cleef thing. A lot of it we've known and we pieced together, but that is expressly telling us everything. And look who we're turning this into, Lady Katrana Prester. So we're going to tell her, because we have Bolvar Fordragon. Oh no, he's the Lich King. We have Anduin Rin, but he's the King of Stormwind. They're already showing it. But really you should say like acting king, because there is a king.
King's honor, friend.
She glares
Safe
at me.
Travels.
Arator, yes. I was informed by Barrows Alexton that you would be coming. I must say I am most interested in what you have to say.
You are to be commended for the service you have done for Stormwind, adventurer. If Van Cleef had been successful in his machinations, he would no doubt have done considerable harm to the kingdom, something we must obviously avoid. Take this, adventurer, as a token of the king's appreciation. I am only sorry he cannot present it to you himself, but he is away on a diplomatic mission and shall not return for some time.
Okay, but look at that dope ring. It's nice. It gives you buffs to all stats. A total of 17 points, I think, of buffs. Let's slip it on. Yeah, so we have this 1 stamina, 3 intellect. I'll replace that. So, ooh, look, it even shows like that. Well, I mean, it raised us up by 1 damage. It's cool. So, basically, stats across the board, solid ring. So we do still have a couple to turn in. That was that main quest line, but we need to go to Red Ridge to turn in the What Comes Around, which is actually the easiest one, the first one that we got, which is, so we'll give some backstory on that, and then we're going to finish off with Darkshire, because that's, Duskwood, I mean, and well, yeah, either way, same thing, because that's where he was questing, and that way he's back wherever he needs to be to pick up his missions next time. But yeah, it's worth it for the ring. Erator, I saw myself get stronger on today. I went from, I think, level 26 to 28, and I'm halfway almost to 29. I upgraded my shoulders. I upgraded my bracers. I got a big upgrade to ring. I might have had an upgrade to either hand or feet off camera too. Maybe not. Either way, if you find yourself upgrading 3 pieces of gear and 1 with a blue, leveling a couple times, that's it's productive for classic. Alright, so we're going to fly to
where is it
Red
you would
Ridge.
like to go, lad? For just a few coin, my griffins can get you there faster than even the swiftest horse.
Okay. So one thing I kind of want to look at also is where we were at when we did Darkshire. He does have a few quests to turn in. Well, one of them is this one. Look, there's this Weathered Grave. Now he is high enough level to pick that up, but that's like end zone. I don't think he'll be doing that anytime soon. But he's obviously picked up the majority of the quests and done them around here. I remember he did some stuff over here. I'll have to look at the video to see which parts I did on camera versus off. He has the Seasoned Wolf Kebab, the Jitters Growling Gut, and the supplies from Darkshire ready to turn in. So there's that, and I just don't remember exactly what he did. He's got some stuff, so I'll have to kind of do my best to figure that out. Between looking at, because I'm not even going to figure it out right now, really, because I still have stuff I need to do. I've got to finish off Ashen Vale, do Black Fathom Deeds, run through the other characters. After we do that, we've got we'll hop back up and we'll pick up the Hillsbrad Foothills, I think, with, how do I have her doing that? Such a bad, like, the Hillsbrad Foothills, such a bad area to quest in. Don't know why I have a grind set up for that. Oh well. Alright, so let's turn in this Lakeshore quest, and then we'll come back in and fly to Duskwood, and we'll be done with this episode. So we're getting to the end. I need to sell that ring. But we'll sell when all's said and done. Throw that on her. Throw a little buff. Old Erator. Normally, I would never make a character like this. Like, I would never make a long, blonde-haired dude. He's just not my style of character. Little Fabio-looking guy. But because I'm matching, like, trying to make it look cool or look authentic.
Well met.
Have you been to Stormwind yet? To the Stockade? I fear whatever trickery that kept Torgor the Dread alive for this long would actually bring about his freedom. He was sentenced to die. Erator, not after some political pawn and a noble's whim. Because if you remember, when we did this quest,
For the Alliance.
basically they said this guy was the lieutenant of Gathil Zog, someone I believe we already killed, who led this area. So this was his lieutenant. They captured him. They sent him to Stormwind for execution, and he's just been there in jail. And for some reason, for a noble has stayed his execution. And obviously, it's probably the noble we just killed, and he was doing it because he wanted to help with the insurrection there.
Targor the Dread has finally met his fate. I, for one, am glad to hear the beast now knows what it is like to be on the receiving end of death's ruthless grip.
Really
You have
harp
done
on
well,
that.
adventurer. Sometimes the truest justice can only be found outside the courtroom and beyond the clouded vision of politics.
So these knights are like, this is the second person that's basically like, yeah, you know, this is cool. We are all heroes and yada yada yada, but you know, it would be, at the end of the day, we're not above breaking the law and murder if we feel like it's justified. You also have the second instance of the quest giver being like, yes, now this person knows what it's like to feel death. Like, okay. Do you think they learned a lesson? Like, alright, so we'll hop over to Duskwood. It's very close, Darkshire. We're flush with cash, and we'll sell off some of the staff. I just picked up the staff because it was, you know, better as far as sell value. Probably sells for more. We don't need either. We got to turn in the Hand of Dexter and Ward. I don't know if that's going to be money only. So this is the final quest. This is when we went to Darkshire. The councilman there says not only is it bad enough that Stormwind has been just straight up neglecting us, we sent him to one of the king's jobs as execution. We sent this villain to Stormwind and for execution, and they're just keeping him in jail. He was someone that was caught selling bodies to a necromancer or warlock, basically, and that's not cool because Morbin Fell is someone that we still have yet to deal with here, but he's been up to no good, and that's like an unforgivable crime, basically, to the people of Darkshire, Duskwood. But yet again, you find these tough villains that are not being put to death. Why? And we have found out, basically, we can piece together, connect the dots.
King's honor, friend.
So long as the molester of the dead, like Dexter and Ward, is permitted to live, justice stands betrayed. Return to me once Lord Ebonlock's sentence of death is carried out on that defiler ward. We shall give the families of the dead the closure they deserve, and better yet, we will send a clear message to the House of Nobles in Stormwind.
So Dexter and Ward finally paid for his crimes against humanity? Good riddance to the scum, I say. And cheers to you, my friend. Not only have you given the families of the dead the peace of mind they deserve, you sent a poignant message to those corrupt bureaucrats in the House of Nobles. Stormwind must rise to the needs of the people of Duskwood, or we will break free from their tyranny.
So this is showing that Duskwood is starting to, they're really not happy. That's them's fighting words right there, where they're talking about, like, they're talking about Stormwind as a tyranny. This is like some unhappy colonist type stuff going on, and hopefully
Good day to you.
we get some quests that sort that out, and that mail is not as good as the mail I have. So sell these things here. Alright, so we did it. We have another episode in pipe 5x5. It was a little long, just turning in all those quests, and that's how World of Warcraft Classic goes. But thank you, everybody, so much for watching and for listening, and I will see all of you next time on Lore of Warcraft. Peace!